What's up, everybody? It's Adam. Thank y'all so much for watching this. Make sure you like and subscribe. I had a long day at work, which leads me to this question. Why do working class folks hate working class folks? Why, when, and how did that paradigm shift happen? How have we gone from the battle at Blair Mountain to factory workers siding with factory owners? It is dismaying the amount of blue collar workers who support not only Trump, but Republicans in general. The Democrats are to blame somewhat because they haven't done nearly enough. Do not get me wrong. They've not done nearly enough to support blue collar workers, but it's alarming the number of Southern blue collar citizens who are raised to never trust a businessman from New York City, putting all their faith and trust into a businessman from New York City. I get told he cares about us. Sir, he does not give a fuck about you, and his history proves that. Just because he says it, that don't mean nothing. I bet you believe the stripper is actually into you too. All the evidence is there, and you choose to believe hollow words. What happened to actions are worth way more than words? It doesn't take much fancy book learning, if any at all, to realize that a man who has a long recorded history of not fully paying workers and contractors does not give a fuck about the working class. Someone who has dozens of violations of the Fair Labor Standards Act for not paying employees minimum wage or overtime pay. Someone who has claimed bankruptcy multiple times to get out of debts, leading to people losing their livelihoods. But he comes out okay. So it's all fine. Someone who would rather bleed the little man dry in court instead of paying him what he's owed does not give one single flying fuck about the little man. And then people, just like the ones he fucked for decades, they line up to vote for him because, according to them, he cares about the common man. And it's not just Trump. I just never thought I would see the day where blue collar workers take the side of billionaires and bosses. I've got a hat of my grandfather's. I got it right here. It says that God, guns, and guts built the UMWA. And that is exactly right. The labor movement and unions gave the working class every single thing they have today. And now, when the working class tries to stand up for itself, other working class people stand on the opposite side and argue for the company. They say that they should be happy with what they got. And if they're not, then they should find another job. The company doesn't have to do a damn thing because solidarity has become a four-letter word. Conservatives want to make America great again. When was it great to begin with? Just when exactly? They're reminiscing of green grass, forgetting that it was fertilized with shit. I always get told it was great when the middle class thrived. You mean when the rich were taxed the highest in the nation, and also when union membership was the highest in history? You can't correlate the fact that when those two numbers started dwindling, the middle class began to suffer. You can't just put two and two together. People say, we want better wages and a better standard of living. But when others don't just say it, but take action, like organizing or going on strike, those same people say that they should be happy with what they got, and they take the company's side. I do not get it. I don't understand it. They say the power of unions have diminished, and as long as you do a good job, you will be rewarded. That is literally the position the company wants you to take. The fuck? Yes, forget collective bargaining. Just one employee at a factory of 1,000. One employee at a factory of 500, 10,000, 1,500. Just one employee should set up a meeting with the highest person in the company, the labor director or whoever it is, and say, listen here, Jim, I've been working my ass off. So I'm willing to continue to work my ass off under certain conditions. I want $1.50 raise right now, and I want COLA raises after the first year. But I will concede, and I will set a yearly cap at 4%. I want floating holidays. I want certain changes to the attendance policy, and my insurance changed to a lower deductible. what do you think will happen if one person tried to do that? He will be laughed out of the room and he will be looking for a new job. Why is it that a lot of the working class have adopted the mentality of, well, we will be rewarded if we just work hard and shut the fuck up? When history, long ago and recent, has shown quite the opposite. Why does all the working class want better conditions, pay, benefits, but when some stand up for them, others tell them to sit down? Each and every time I see a union go on strike, I see other working class folks take the side opposite the strikers. And their argument usually boils down to, well, you be happy with what you got, or find a better job. Or if you're not happy, someone else will be happy to have your job. Or my favorite, unions are corrupt. Look at how much money that union leader has. I think these folks have watched way too many mafia movies. I think they believe that every union leader is Jimmy Hoffa. But, okay, let's just say, so the union leader has money. He's still on your side, arguing and fighting for you to have more. So since he has nice things, you're going to side against him and take the side of the billionaires and the bosses? Ones with infinitely more money than the union leader? What kind of, do you hear what I'm saying? That is what y'all do. What kind of sense does it make? Do you really think they would treat you better? Is that why you're siding with them? Is that why you want them to have tax cuts and the workers don't need pay raises? Because eventually those tax cuts will trickle down into your pocket. Yeah, they'll stop doing what they always do. They'll stop doing stock buybacks and layoffs and cutting corners on safety and making it harder on the ones who made them rich off the backs of their labor. Yeah, they'll stop all that if you just take their side. Get the fuck out of here. I see it all the time in Alabama. We have a lot of good jobs here, but the way we got them is being a right-to-work state, which is basically being anti-union. Well, that and the state giving these corporations and businesses and factories insane tax breaks to build here. But then the state will raise the gas tax or the sin tax or something else, once again pushing the burden to the working class. Then when one place with the union goes on strike and demands what the company promises them, they are starved out by the company and the Republican supermajority state government. It happened with the coal mines in my town. State government provided them with transportation and police protection for the scabs. A Republican judge forced the striking miners to only picket in certain places, and somehow a lot of people still blame the left. What left in Bama? Now, I will say, Biden did keep his mouth shut during that whole strike, which was extremely disappointing. But Bernie and Elizabeth Warren did speak up for the striking miners. But Alabama Senator Tommy Tuberville, who I guarantee a shitload of those striking miners voted for, he said they should just be happy with what they got, which is also what a lot of working class people said too. Which brings me back to my original question. Why do working class folks hate the working class? Why, when, and how did that paradigm shift happen? How did we go from the battle at Blair Mountain to factory workers siding with factory owners? How did we arrive at rednecks being bootlickers? When did the ass kickers become the ass kissers? How has a shitload of the working class been convinced that voting against their best interests is actually in their best interests? When did the working class decide that the problem was the working class and not the bosses and corporations and millionaires, not to mention billionaires? No, the problem is that the people who make $1,000 an hour or more have convinced people who make $25 an hour that the people who make $10 an hour, $15 an hour, or even $25 an hour like themselves are the actual problem. Blue collar means you're supposed to wear boots, not lick them. Thanks for watching. Make sure to like and subscribe.